What if you had a superpower? The kind that lets you see right through solid objects. We actually use it every single day. We use it to find broken bones, to check your luggage at the airport, and even to uncover secrets hidden away in ancient paintings. We're talking about X-rays, this invisible light that literally turns the world inside out. But how on earth is that even possible? Let's find out.
Right? How is it possible? How do these mysterious rays give us this almost comic book superpower to peek beneath the surface of things? Well, it's not magic. It's actually something way cooler, some seriously awesome physics. And believe it or not, it all starts with family.
Yeah, to really get a handle on X-rays, you first have to meet their family. And it turns out they've got some very, very famous relatives, forms of energy that we are dealing with every single second of our lives. That's right. X-rays are a form of electromagnetic radiation. If you look at the spectrum, you'll see they're in the same big family as the radio waves bringing music to your car and the visible light that's hitting your eyes right this second. The key difference, though, energy. If radio waves are a tiny whisper, X-rays are a full-on sonic boom. Now, what's really interesting here is how you can visualize that energy difference. Think of regular light, visible light, as like a gentle little wave at the beach. It just kind of bounces off you. But an X-ray, that's like a powerful, sharp ocean wave. It has so much energy packed into such a short wavelength that it doesn't just bounce off. It has this incredible ability to blast right through matter. So we know they're these super high energy waves, but how do we actually make them? I mean, where do they come from? To answer that, we have to step inside the machine where these powerful photons are born. It's a surprisingly simple device, really, called an X-ray tube. Okay, so inside this special vacuum tube, we've got two main players. At one end, there's a heated filament, we call it the cathode, which is basically our electron gun. And at the other end, there's a heavy metal target, the anode. The stage is all set for a really high energy collision. And here's how it all goes down in 4 basic steps. First, we heat up that filament until it literally boils off a cloud of electrons. Then, a massive jolt of voltage yanks those electrons across the tube at insane speeds. We're talking nearly half the speed of light. Then, bam, they violently smash into a tungsten target. And in that fiery collision, X-ray photons are born. But here's a totally mind-blowing fact. For all that incredible energy and all that speed, get this. Only about 1% of the collision's energy actually turns into useful X-rays. The other 99%, it's just converted directly into heat. A ton of heat, which is why these machines need some pretty serious cooling systems, just to keep from melting. Okay, so we've successfully created our X-ray photons in our little photon factory. Now for the real aha moment. Let's look at how this beam of invisible light actually creates those detailed pictures that we can all see. The entire secret, the whole magic trick, lies in this one principle: differential absorption. Now that sounds like a fancy term, but it's a really simple idea. As the X-ray beam passes through a person's body, different parts of that body are going to absorb the rays differently, all based on how dense they are. And this slide just breaks it down perfectly. You see, the less dense stuff, like your skin and muscle, well, they let a lot of the X-rays pass right through. This hits the detector on the other side with a really strong signal, and that shows up as dark or black. But the really dense materials, like bone, they absorb or scatter a ton of the X-rays. So way fewer rays hit the detector, creating a weak signal that shows up as white. It's literally a shadow picture. This ability to create shadow images it's incredibly powerful. But anything with enough energy to pass straight through your body, well, it needs to be handled with a lot of care. So that brings us to the really crucial topic of safety. Here's the most important thing you need to remember. X-rays are a form of what's called ionizing radiation. That high energy we've been talking about is actually enough to knock electrons right out of your atoms, and that can potentially damage living cells. This is exactly why technicians use that heavy protective lead gear, and why they're trained to use the absolute smallest, safest dose necessary to get the image they need. And there you have it. We went from a mysterious force to a high-energy light created by slamming electrons into a piece of metal, all to cast a shadow of our own inner world. It's a true marvel of physics. So now, I want to hear from you. What is the coolest or maybe even the weirdest X-ray image you have ever seen? Drop it in the comments below.